Hello, and dear lovely humans. I hope you're doing well. My name is Christian, first of all. So that's important just to get the introduction across. There's been a lot going on in a lot of people's lives that I know. So I just thought that I would kind of contribute as far as like talking about the awakening, like what's going on with everyone. Just gonna go through my story, and it's probably gonna be in a part series of what happened to me this last year and how I reacted, like what I did for help. As I'm waking up to like a lot of things happening in the world, spiritually and myself, I mean, emotionally, every level of myself. So it's very interesting, very hard. It was very lonely. So I think it would be great to help other people that are waking up that don't really have questions or answers that they need to these questions. So that's just kind of what I'm going to be talking about. If this interests you, cool, hang out, message me, be cool. If you're not cool, probably going to delete your comments. If not, bye. It was great. Hope you have a good time. Still hit me up. Like, we can chat, ask questions, whatever. Like, let's hang out anyways, because I don't care. But yeah, anyways, it's for people. It's not. I don't really care if it's for you. I'm really glad you're here. If not, I really hope you're open to hearing it anyway. And like maybe you can just disagree and we can have a conversation about it. And that'll be cool too. So, whatever. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just here to tell my story. So, if you're convinced, cool. If you're not convinced, cool. Just be nice about it. Anyways, so kind of wanted to start everything off. Just a little background. With kind of how this stuff started happening to me. This all started happening in October. I was dating my current partner at the time, and she is very much into aliens, ETs. Yeah, that's where we're going. So if you're not on that bandwagon, you might want to hop off now. Uh, so that being said, I was a very extreme healthy skeptic, very much like no, aliens don't exist. Not into it. My brother is in the military. He's like one of the most logical people that I know, though. And I found out he believed in aliens a couple years ago, and I didn't understand why. Like, with all his logic, all his knowledge, all his whatever, he's very skeptical as well, that he would believe in aliens. I was like, that seems far-fetched. You don't believe in God, like, whatever. Like, the aliens is like another level, man. Like, how do you believe in this? I don't know what he knows about them. He can't say what he knows, probably, if there is something happening in the government. I don't know. Not here to speculate on that. I don't care. That being said, I just know how his brain works and how he does his research so well. So I was like, there's got to be something more to it that I'm maybe not getting. So that being said, my girlfriend was always about like, let's watch ET documentaries. Let's talk about extraterrestrials. There's spiritual beings apparently. There's like benevolent, non-benevolent. I don't know. Whatever. I just got thrown into this and I'm dating her. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm just here to go with the flow. So I did. Went with the flow. We watched a documentary. It was called I have to check. Extraordinary by Stan Romanek. That was really interesting. I'm a healthy skeptic still again. They started talking about the physics of it. Very science minded. So for me, I was like, well, that's kind of a hard selling point. How does someone who doesn't know physics bring up all these like complex equations, and a physicist is saying, yeah, these are for like whatever propulsion and all this other stuff, and you have to be like doctorate in the field to know this, blah blah blah, whatever they said, something along those lines. So from what I gathered, so I was like, cool, healthy skeptic still, not really getting to me. There was one point in the documentary though where this guy caught something on camera, and I don't even, whatever, like debunk it if you will, don't debunk, like again, everything's up for interpretation here, especially like my experience. So interpret this how you want, interpret the documentary how you want. He was in a lit up room and his cameras are motion censored. So as he's in this room, his cameras started, I think they turned on because there was a shadow figure moving. Nobody was in the room at all. There were no lights, like all the lights were on, no lights flickering or anything, like nothing like from what I gathered moving in the background to like cast these shadows, because this was a whole separate room than where the camera actually was. So I was like, there's no way, like the shadow was like directly on the wall. You had to be within a certain proximity to cast the shadow, or like maybe it's just a trick of the mind. There was another image that came up, another video that looked very similar that he caught another time separate from that. And I could not help it, but at one point growing up in my, not even one point, a few points growing up in my life, I had seen the same thing. And I was like, that is nuts. I don't know what this is. I'm a little concerned. Growing up in like a non-denominational background, a lot of what we were seeing growing up was deemed as demonic, as like, yeah, just something to question that was like, oh, it's a shadow, so it's evil. Like, and that was essentially like the tag that we gave it. And that's all I'd known because that's how I grew up. So for me, I'm just looking at the shadow and I'm like, I remember seeing that. Like late at night, I would study. And like my hallway would be open with the hallway light on. And I would see these shadows moving, dancing, like in my peripheral. And so I'd look up, there's nothing there. Okay, cool. Go back to studying, do my thing, whatever. Look up, again, seeing these shadows, nothing's there. And I'm like, okay, this is super weird. And then I started to get this sense of like fear. And that's where all of a sudden it was like, okay, I don't know if like my mind's playing tricks on me, but this feels really real. And this fear is like actually pretty uncomfortable. Like it doesn't feel good. So I felt paralyzed with fear at the time. And I was just in high school, so it was like, okay, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know what's going on. I had to walk through that hallway to go and grab my mother because I was like, Mom, I don't know what's going on with my room. Like, say your blessings over it, or like the name of Jesus, whatever works. Like at this point, I don't care, but I don't want to be in this room. And I'm like kind of getting to adulthood at this point. So it's like, okay, not exactly the nicest thing to ask your mom for help at that point, but I was like, crap, I don't know what else to do. So anyways, go ask my mom. She does her thing in my room, prays over it, and then I go back to bed, play like some like church music so that I could go to sleep or whatever. And I didn't have any problems the rest of the night. Every time I pray over my room though, it would still stay there. So I was like, cool, this is I'm a hopeless case for like helping myself with any of this like spiritual juju that I'm seeing. So my mom was like essentially, okay, the priest of the house. So like, please come and bless my room. Priesty, I would appreciate it. So she did. She came and did her thing, and it was awesome. And that was a couple times, and she can attest to this too. Doesn't have any like hidden memories of it. Totally remembers. She never saw it. I saw it. There's some other stories from my childhood that got mixed up, but I'm not sure if I should share those now or just wait for later. But anyways, that being said, I was like, dude, I've seen these shadow figures. I don't know what they are. They move, in my house when the lights are on and like nothing's around. So I don't know what that is. It's just me. Like everyone's on the other side of the house sleeping. And this is happening in this guy's house too. Like, I don't know. I was like, cool. So maybe it wasn't demonic. Like then I started questioning aliens because I was like, if I had not seen it, duly noted that it probably would have just like passed me by and like I wouldn't have cared twice. I wouldn't have thought about it. Like it wouldn't have even, I probably would have been like, oh, whatever. Like he fudged the footage. But I've seen that. So for me, it was like a little more real. So I'm sure that's understandable for most people that have experiences like that. But anyways, so that being said, then I had to like re-question like where I stood on the fact of aliens. And I was like, does this exist? Because that's, again, like questionable. Then I mean, and I know, like I've looked into the theory of dimensions. I believe there's 11 that there are theories about at the moment. We don't really understand them all. We don't even really understand how the timelines in like the fourth and fifth dimension work, really. We do barely. Like, we think we do. But they're still discovering it and it's still a theory. So it's technically like could things be around us that we just don't see? Like I realize like the light spectrum is huge, and like for human vision you can only see like maybe this much of like this huge spectrum, and it's like your cones and rods aren't attuned to like gamma rays and like freaking x-rays and all this and microwaves. Like you just can't see that without help. So I mean, now we can a little bit more, but I don't see anyone going around with like an infrared camera all the time like, oh my god, a ghost over there. So anyways, that being said, so I'm well aware that like we are very limited in what we can actually like perceive, that is with our five senses. So again, same with like tones and hearing. Like dogs have like way better hearing than us. Elephants do as well. They hear rumbles that are super low in the ground that can travel for like miles, because lower vibrations travel a lot further than high vibrations when it comes to sound. So like taking all of this into account of like my knowledge of like science and like how vision, hearing, that kind of stuff works, and perception, I was like, I'm not unaware that there's other things outside of the spectrum that I can see and hear audibly that might be in existence. And that's just my awareness. And that's fine if that's not yours. Like, I'm, again, open to if you disagree or not. That's fine. This is just my experience. So, that being said, when all this was happening, oh, there's a cardinal outside. That's crazy. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to have to look that up. So as I'm like doing my research, questioning myself, so like, what do you really think? What do you really believe at this point, Christian? And just digging inside myself and like having to reevaluate like my beliefs, which is like hard. It's not easy to reevaluate your beliefs. Like, this is what I've thought my whole life. This is what I believed. I never even like gave a second thought to like aliens existing, other than like, cool, my brother thinks it, and that's kind of weird, but like he's logical, so I believe him a little bit. But that's great for him. Like, let's keep that over there. So as it's like coming to my front door, I'm like, well, crap, like now what? So cool. As I start experiencing this, I actually, at the time, started implementing, well, it was interesting. Okay, so first of all, things started happening in my room at this time of my questioning. Similar experiences to what had happened before, and it didn't feel good. It was like a fearful experience in my room. I felt like something was in there with me. I felt like something was standing by my bed that was short, little, like I had dreams about it, and I would like wake up, and it was like I could see something in my mind's eye or something. Like I knew something was there, but I didn't know what it was, and it didn't feel good. So I had to like consult with someone that's worked with me with a lot of like trauma, and she does like trauma massage therapy, and she's like literally the most amazing person. She talks to angels, and like has helped me heal a lot in my emotional, my traumatic past. Like I used to have PTSD. I used to be on meds for it. I don't even have it anymore. I don't have panic attacks. I'm off meds. Like I have no issues anymore. That was like coupling like therapy with meds, which I found her from a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It's very great. It's a lot of research done on like trauma, and like what can help trauma patients. So, being like a PTSD person and someone like with abuse in their past and that kind of thing, I was like, cool. So like, I don't know what I'm experiencing now spiritually, or like, is this in a spirit or is this in my mind, or like, how do I confront this? So she reassured me that there is certain things that like obviously you can't see that do help or do not help in people's lives. So benevolent or non entities that do enter, or energies, or spirits, or whatever you want to call them, that do hang out and like say hey or not, or are helpful or not. So she honestly was one of the reasons that I kind of believe this too, because again, like I'm physical proof that like one can move past PTSD when all this science is saying that like, no, we don't have a cure for this, and you're basically stuck with this like psychological disorder for the rest of your life, and like, I don't know, you're just gonna have to take Xanax and like just choke on some pills forever. Like enjoy the pharmaceutical companies, I guess. Hopefully we'll give you health insurance. I don't know, maybe we'll pay for therapy one day, but not now, so good luck. But yeah, that's just kind of how it felt. So as I'm like on my search for like personal healing, that's kind of like how I met her. And her speaking to angels was really interesting. There's a lot of somatic reasoning, however you say it, in the body, which like your body, there has been science to back this up. It does show up in nature, like with gazelles, and some of Peter Levine's research. For example, with the fight, flight, or freeze concept, the freeze is actually where a lot of humans get stuck in like holding their emotions in their body. So if that's like one of your reactions to trauma or like something super devastating in your life is like maybe something very sudden, like maybe a shooting, maybe like physical abuse, maybe it could be anything, like even like sexual abuse, like the freeze does come into to play in some regard because those emotions, those experiences don't move through our body and they're actually stored somewhere. So when you do have traumatic experiences, what they've noticed is in like the animal kingdom with like antelopes and stuff. So when they freeze, it'll be like 5 seconds and their face looks completely blank, which we've seen this, like it happens with possums. We've seen this in humans where it's just like you're in shock to the point where you like not, you check out of reality, really. And so there's not really much going on behind the scenes except for like your blank face, which everyone can see. And so as like these gazelles like have that blank face on, and like say whatever, they get hunted by a cheetah in Africa, which is one of his examples in his book. Yeah, I cannot remember the name of it, but Peter Levine, you'll look it up. And there's a tiger on it. But yeah, the cheetah will catch this gazelle. It'll have like five minutes of like, okay, cool, like the cheetah drugged me over here to like eat me or whatever. But then all of a sudden what researchers started noticing is that like you would see the gazelle shake, like it would have like a coming to moment, where it just kind of like gets back into its body. And then all of a sudden, as the cheetah's caught off guard, it has that split like 2 second response time, and it just darts off into the bush. And it actually lives. So, but their point was that the gazelle doesn't continue living their life as, hey, like, I'm so traumatized, I can't live my life anymore. I got caught that one time. I got hunted. I almost, like, got my neck broken. Oh my God, like, now what am I gonna do? And, like, cries in the bush and dies from depression. It literally, they were saying that energy stored from that traumatic experience actually moves through its body straight after when it comes to, and it darts off and it never thinks of it again. It's like short-term memory loss is like the best thing for the animal kingdom when it comes to like moving through these like traumatic experiences as prey. Like, so that's essentially what they were saying is like lacking in humans. So how do we move through those energy fluctuations, and are they stored in our body since we're not moving through them and we're holding on to them and we're like continually like remembering them? So that was a lot of their research, and that's how I kind of got into looking up like trauma massage therapy in the first place. So this is a little bit like an off-road experience, but I have a lot of bunny trails, so bear with me. But this was just like my understanding and my backing and my story behind that too. So whenever she was working on me, I would notice it's kind of like Reiki. It's kind of where like she would tell my mind to shut up, basically. Like, here, put your mind over here. Put your body on the table, the massage table, and we're going to like talk to your body. We're going to like see what you're feeling. We're not even going to talk to it. We're not going to let it think. We're just going to see like what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. And like maybe it was in my stomach, maybe it was in my neck, maybe it was in my throat, maybe it would just be certain like, and everything's perfect the way it is. It's not good or bad. It wasn't judged. It was just letting it be, letting it express itself, letting it come to the surface in my body for where I was holding these memories. Because yes, your brain does hold memories, but so does your body, and it remembers those things. If you ever had like a car accident, scar tissue, that kind of stuff, like, I mean, your body, you know, if your back is still hurting from a car accident, your body is holding that still. So, I mean, that's just an example of things that can get stuck and stored in the body. So, anyways, she helped me move through a lot of those experiences. A lot were really traumatic, and a lot were like, a lot I never had to go back a second time for. It wasn't just the talk therapy of blah, blah, blah. Like, when I was 5, my worst childhood experience was X, Y, and Z, and I just can't function because I have PTSD now. It was like, I didn't have to talk at all. My body said everything that I needed to say. It was everything. It was perfect the way it was. It came up perfectly the way that it needed to. And yeah, she was just amazing. She would just like facilitate me going through these emotions. And like we would rewrite history for myself, kind of like the gazelle escaping. We would focus on this emotion, for example, like with a lot of sexually assaulted victims, they hold a lot of trauma in their hips. That's why whenever you do yoga, happy baby, which is a posture that goes like this somewhat, it can be a triggering experience for some people doing happy baby. And that was actually research from The Body Keeps a Score in that book. So I mean, that's proven. That was from vets that they were doing PTSD trials on. So that being said, like say like my hips would be hurting, or there would be certain things in like my throat. Like at one point, someone would like choked me out. So it came up. It was like my throat was still like I had to make the motion of breaking free of this. To rewrite the history of myself so that I could be free of my own emotions and free of my own experiences, to move forward and to move through these and to clear these out of my body once and for all, and not to revisit them, because your trauma should not be revisited. And if it is, then honestly, this is probably a great therapy for you, and I would suggest it highly. Like, it really helped heal me, and that's the only reason that I am where I am today. I did a lot of work, and it was worth every penny, because when we die, we only have ourselves. So why not invest in the one thing that should be most precious to us, which is us? But that's just my rant. I digress. But that's one of the reasons, like, I started believing in angels. I was super atheist, agnostic, whatever. Like, I believe in healing modalities that science have proven, like meditation. That's been proven by science to help reduce stress. Other companies have started utilizing it for like their employees with stress reduction and like long hours, and also to help creativity and to prolong like just even life in general. So stuff like that, it can just help with managing a lot in the body. So that's what I started using, and that's kind of how I started like doing more research into like what will actually help my body. So anyways, just kind of like, again, going back to where we started, she would talk to angels too, and it would like, she would get answers by talking to my angels, and I found that a little bit odd. I was like, cool, like it's uncomfortable, but every time I had results, and I never went back for the same thing twice. Never. It always moved through me and stayed away from me, and it was like the roots came up, out, and they were cleared, and I never had a problem. So for me, that was more of a testament to like, maybe there's something more to this. Like, she's talking to angels. I'm open to everybody's belief system. I'm open to whatever you think, whatever you believe. Like, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. Like, let's be adults about it. Like, yeah, what do you believe? I want to know, because I might have an experience similar to this. So for her, it was like really the tipping point of like, cool, so I'm an atheist and I'm agnostic, so I don't really believe in this, but I question everything because I'm a healthy skeptic, which means you should question everything anyways, even if you are like, you have a modality of belief. Like, just because things change, we're just always changing beings, so question everything. But that being said, she just like, there were certain things that her angels would tell her that I had not said. I had not spoken about. I had not, my brain, again, like, we get on the massage table, put your brain over here, your body's on the table, let's go, let's do this thing, let's get whatever needs to come out of your body out, and let's see what happens. So as she's doing this with me, angels would start telling her things like, what is going on with my body? What is my body? What is this memory? They would start showing her some of my memories too, so she would know and see exactly what I was seeing and feeling in my head. I mean, I would tell her as well, I would talk to her, but like, she would give me like certain like keywords that I was seeing too, and I was like, there's no way, like, you can see this, it's in my head and I haven't said anything about it, so how is this happening? It would like blow my mind. And it just happened so many times. Like, I probably went to her like 14 times like total, um and that's all it took. So I mean, again, so that's kind of where that comes in. And I was like, maybe there is something to the spiritual, maybe there's something to the unseen. Again, like questioning like what I can see, what I can hear, and what I cannot hear, and what I cannot see, and what I cannot touch. So anyways, I consulted her and I was like, hey, so this is happening in my room and I'm sensing these things, these little, like, these beings, and this started happening. I started seeing shadow figures. I'm not really sure. I started seeing them again. It's like all of a sudden, like, I was an atheist and then watched this documentary, and all of a sudden the doors start opening again because I'm questioning, like, crap, like, is this something that I missed? Like, I have no explanation for it other than, like, I think I just was a healthy, like, questioner of it, and it kind of, like, came to the forefront of, like, well, what do you believe about it now? Like, it's in your face. You can't deny it now, Christian. You can't run away. Like, it's happening again, and, like, you never really dealt with it to begin with in high school, so again, like, what are you gonna do with this? So she gave me some, like, protection stuff to do for myself. She gave me things to say, like using archangels as well for protection and just like guarding my room and guiding me. So that was good. That was helpful. That made me feel really safe. So I would do that. And then eventually, like, it started working and nothing like came back. I mean, I did have dreams, but they were like benevolent beings. They were like, it was crazy. It was like they were helpful. They were just like, I don't even know how to explain any of this, so I'm trying my best here. But yeah, so just kind of putting a like pause on that for my experience. I think I'm only going to keep these about 30 minutes just so that I can like have people process stuff a little bit, because I know 30 minutes is a little too long for some people. But that's just kind of my experience, and that's where things kind of started kickstarting, and then it got weirder from there in a good way. And I'm always about the weird, so it's pretty fun ride. Like, I'd rather be woken up now looking back, but during the time I really had so many questions and I did not know what to do or who to turn to for this stuff, which is another reason that I feel like putting this out there so that other people can hopefully be helped from my experience, and my questions and my and the things that I saw and experienced. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though, so I'll leave it at there for now. And yeah, oh well, I guess I might as well say that I did a little bit more research on like benevolent ETs in the spiritual community. A lot of people believe certain ones are very helpful. They help with like sound healing, which you can, sound bowl healing is a thing, gong healing, like that kind of stuff. Sound healing is a thing. I didn't even think that was a thing. I thought it was a joke. I'm not gonna lie. When I heard that, I was like, what? You can get healed with sound? I thought it was a joke. Nobody, I probably shouldn't have been around any of my friends that did that when I thought it was a joke, because I was probably like a little ruthless with taking it a little too far, but whatever. They're gracious and they probably forgive me, so it's not a big deal. If not, please forgive me, because yeah, I thought it was a joke at one point, but now I can like feel it as it's healing me, so I'm like, crap, okay, like this, I think there's some science to this. Also looking into more like the Hertz spectrum, definitely think there's something to it. The fact that like different organs emit different frequencies of sound, that's freaking crazy. The fact that there's a Schumann resonance for different frequencies that the earth emits, like I literally was beside myself for thinking it was a joke, because I was like, okay, no, there's something about that too, and I guess I just didn't know better. So thanks for all those that like brought it up and were a part of that little tidbit of information that I needed to question. So I appreciate it, because now I'm on the fence, and I think sound healing is a thing. But yeah, so that being said, like apparently these ETs start they can help with sound healing. Some of them are really good in technology. Clearly, like, how do you time travel without like being good in technology? Or how do you like bend time and space, like black holes, wormholes, that kind of thing? I don't know. I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to know that much about physics, quantum mechanics, or not economics, or quantum. I cannot quantum mechanics or quantum physics. There we go. But I do understand the gist of it, for the most part, and I do enjoy learning about it. So again, just always open to more theories and questions and whatever. So yeah, I don't really want to rant on that much, but I just thought I'd put that out there as a starter. And then that kind of kickstarted me into the other ETs. And if you think I'm weird, cool. It's gonna get weirder. Just keep watching, or don't. But anyways, I'm gonna take off for now, so thanks for listening to my first 30 minutes. I appreciate y'all for hanging in there. And yeah, let's go on this journey together. Like, what are your stories? Tell me your experiences. Have you experienced anything similar to like any shadows moving that you can see visibly with your eyes? Like, is there anything that you experience? Is there like that feeling, that knowing that you're not alone, or that like there's something around? Or I mean, if you guys have any other experiences like this, I totally would love to hear about it. So please, please, please drop a line, drop a comment, subscribe. I'm going to start doing this more consistently, not just on a weekly basis. I'm thinking like every 2 days, every 3 days. Time, life, everything gets busy, so probably aim for 2 to 3, just to be safe. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week until I see you next. And I will talk to you guys soon about more of my story and see what stories you guys have. I'm excited to hear about it. So yeah, light, love, truth, and peace to all of you guys. I hope that you are having an amazing week, and I wish you guys the best, the most joy, peace, love, everything that you could have, all the goodness.